Hi, this is my long-term review of the Epson ET-4700 EcoTank printer. It was also sold as L5190 in many countries. I purchased it in the beginning of 2020, so I have quite a lot of experience with it and its technology. Well, this particular model has been discontinued. Its successor, the ET-4800, which is exactly the same thing with a different finish on the front panel, is still on the market, and many EcoTanks are using the same technologies, namely the ADF, the flatbed, the micro piezo printhead, and the inks, the dye-based inks. Note that this particular printer uses dye-based ink. On the outside, this Epson and its simple siblings are very compact for the functionalities that they promise. They pack a lot of compelling features into an attractive package. The ET-4700, for example, takes up the space of just over an A4 paper, but can scan, copy, and fax. It has USB, Ethernet, and Wi-Fi connectivity. There is even a small color display. These features, however, don't all work so well. I have 5 major complaints. First, the scanner is not great. It is very slow, especially if you want to scan at more than 300 dpi. From there, it uses stepper motors to move the scanning element in an offset to try to reach a higher resolution. I find that the results from this effort is no better, if not worse, compared to scanning at 300 dpi. I believe that the scanner models equipped with Epson's Precision Core printheads are better. Still, I think the ones from Brothers' comparable models beat all EcoTanks. The flatbed also leaks light, and its cover feels quite flimsy, which, by the way, is also used for the ADF element. Secondly, the ADF further lowers the scan quality. I noticed this, and upon close scrutiny, I realized that there is a plastic film to guide the paper to route it to the output. This, I believe, is an inferior design for the ADF. Thirdly, it can only use a single connection method at the same time. So if a model is set up for Wi-Fi, it cannot also be connected via Wi-Fi Direct, Ethernet, or USB, and vice versa. Fourthly, the printhead loves to get blocked by air bubbles. Even if you print a lot of colorful page every day, every now and then some nozzles get blocked. And then if you try to run a printhead cleaning regime, it may or may not work. Sometimes after each cleaning, you find that with nozzle checks, that new nozzles get blocked. If the paper is not perfectly smooth, if there are some creases on it, or if there are some dust on it, nozzles are very likely to get blocked. And it takes a lot of luck to really deblock it. Or sometimes just a little bit of waiting. After a couple of weeks, it may clear up by itself. As a result, you see, you use a lot more ink in the cleaning programs than on prints. I have printed just over 1,000 pages, I last checked. And the black ink is already low after a refill. So that's two tanks of black inks, 2 bottles of black inks for just over 1,000 pages. So the real yield is probably around 600 pages per ink bottle, and not thousands, 7,000 or something that Epson advertises. Many online speculate online that air gets in so easily because of the continuous ink supply system. So basically the idea is that it gets air blocked so easily because it's an EcoTank. The corresponding models that they sell as non-EcoTank, perhaps called workforce models, those don't have this issue. And by the way, they are sold at 1/3 the price. So I really find that this model to be a little bit unwise for someone to purchase. I will have a little bit more to say in the end. Some people also say online that printers with precision core print heads are better in this regard. The idea is that the nozzles are so fine that air can't get trapped in it. I don't know if that is true. That's the fourth point. And lastly, the ET-4700 also doesn't come with a paper cassette. So you can only put paper in from the rear paper tray. This is a little bit, inconvenience. It's not a big deal, but you always have to feed paper from the rear paper tray, and you can't really store this printer with paper already in it. That's a little bit inconvenient. The output tray is also very flimsy, as is the rear paper input tray. So I don't know. People say that the models with precision core print heads are better in this regard. I don't know. So these are the negatives. I put the negative first because I think these are more important. There are some positives too. What are they? Well, I see three of them. First, the printing results are quite good. There is nothing to complain. Secondly, I think the printer is very, very compact and it looks quite smart. I don't really like this highly reflective front finish on the front panel, but as I say, its successor, the ET-4800, has a different design, this textured design that is quite like that found in the ink cover. So that, I guess, solves this problem. And the third point is that it gets the job done, right? The scanner is slow, but it can scan. It doesn't scan photo quality, but for documents, it's fine. The ADF is somewhat negatively affected by its construction, by the plastic film, but nevertheless, there is an ADF, so you can scan a lot of papers. There is no duplexer, but you can manually duplex with the driver. So mostly it gets the job done. But I have a couple of recommendations. For those who live in developing countries, I believe that the Brother DCP T725DW to be a superior printer. Just look at the weight of that printer. It weighs almost twice that of this Epson. But at the same time, I think it costs about a quarter or to 1/3 cheaper. So it's less expensive. It has double the number of nozzles, is much faster, comes with a much better scanner, and can duplex for both prints and the ADF. So I think that is indeed a superior product. It also uses piezoelectric print heads, nozzles, and I think it's overall just a superior product. Brother is not so great at marketing, but it is more a company that is how to say, it's like an OEM that produces printers for a lot of the brands. I think people say that it makes printers for the likes of Ricoh, maybe Lux, what is it called, Luxman or whatever. There are a couple of quite decent printer companies that outsource the manufacturing of their A4 models to Brother. So it's not really that bad. I think that Brother is probably superior just from what I have seen in terms of specifications and build quality to Epson. Or secondly, for those who live elsewhere, namely in Europe and North America, where they don't have Brother inkjets, because Brother seem not to be selling those models in quote-unquote developed countries in the West. In those places, I think it's really much better to purchase a Canon 6-inch amateur photo printers. Those printers are roughly the same price, perhaps a little bit less than Epson's EcoTanks, but they have print qualities that are much superior. They don't have this continuous ink supply system, so they don't get this airlock issues. They have separate ink cartridges that are very easy to replace and to refill. You can even purchase refillable cartridges on them. And some of these refillable, in fact, I think those refillable cartridges, which are basically third-party compatible consumables, they come with a automatic reset chip. And even if you just use the original cartridges and refill them, I think Canon's 6-inch printers don't actually stop you from printing even without resets. So you can just refill those cartridges. You don't even need to reset. You just need to ignore the warnings every time that it prints. Or you can purchase a resetter, or even easier, you just buy those refillable cartridges and be done with it. I think the overall cost is roughly the same as an EcoTank, but you get a 6-inch printer that prints much better, much higher quality. And better still, you don't get the airlock problem. And it is true that Canon likes to block its nozzles, but I think the print heads are removable. They are, of course, not on the same unit as the cartridge. So you can basically remove the print heads, put them in warm water, and basically you can deblock them if the inks have dried on the nozzles. So I think it is easier to maintain, because, by the way, these Epson EcoTanks, they have fixed print heads. You cannot remove those print heads. That's I think a problem in the long term, right? You have print heads that inevitably wear out. They don't intend for you to service them, and if you just look into the internals and the quality of materials used, and judging by just how lightweight this entire unit is and how compact it is, the use of very soft plastics, I don't think that this is really built to a grade that will last. All right, so overall, I just don't find Epson EcoTank without precision core to be compelling at all. Now, I can't say for precision core, though that one is supposed to have slightly worse print quality, because those precision core print heads are quite expensive, so they don't make so many nozzles, etc., etc. I don't know. So there is that, and they use pigment-based ink, by the way. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you find this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks and have a great day.